Hi, it's Kathy. Welcome back. We are on video 4 of our final project tutorials. And for this one, I've already put in all of the cabinetry, the rod shelf, the fixtures. So for this one, we're going to be making a block, and this is the block that we're going to be using for the rest of the plans that you're going to be doing. I'm going to turn off any dimensions that I have placed so far because I don't want those to be in my block. So go to my dimension layer and turn that off. When you're making a block, anything that's turned off will not be copied as the block. Anything that's turned on will. So all the items right now that are in my plan are what I want to keep. So the type of block that I want to make for this particular situation is just a regular block that resides inside my my drawing. So we're just going to type in the word block, or you can go to the insert and create block. Here we're going to just call this floor plan, or I'm sorry, let's call it base plan actually. Base plan will be my block. And the point that I want to insert it is somewhere up here in the corner. So I want to make sure I have my F3 on, and I'm going to choose the endpoint in this corner here. And I want to retain everything as individual lines. I don't want to convert this to a block, the one that I'm selecting. So I'm going to click on the retain lines and then select all of the objects of my plan. Hit enter. And that should be everything. It's showing what I've selected here. Retain, I already picked my base point, and we're going to click OK. Now when I go into Insert, More Options, and I look through here, my base plan is one of the options. So now I can click on this base plan and click on OK, and then I can start to place, and since I have my tracking on, I can place it in almost exactly the same orientation as my existing. So now this is individual lines, but this one came in as a block. So I can actually move it around or do what I need to do with it, kind of get it out of the way there. And that will all stay as one piece. So I won't be able to edit this unless I explode it. And right now I don't want to explode it because this is going to turn into my finished plan. So not only am I going to use a block as my finished plan, but I can continue to add more of these plans. And one of them can become my furniture layout plan, one can become my electrical. And because I have polar tracking on, it'll continue to line up for me. And you can bring in as many of these as you need for the different plans. So that was basically what I meant when I said make a block and then use that to create the rest of your plans that are required. So you do need to have a finished plan, you need to have a furniture plan, you need to have a power plan, lighting, and then the elevations and schedules don't have anything to do with those plans. So back on my original plan, you don't ever want to move it or do anything to this original plan because you have things turned off that have to do with this plan. So now I'm going to go back and turn back on my construction lines and my dimensions, and then you'll see everything that I started with is still here. So in order to complete your regular floor plan with dimensions, you do need to finish the dimensions as shown in your example. Also add the room names, and you want to put room names with square footages of each room. So in order to find square footages, I'm going to turn off the construction. In order to find square footages, you're going to use the area command. Type in area. And with area, you can actually go around the room. Once you've got it all highlighted, hit enter. And then down here, it'll tell you in square feet how many square feet that room is. So you'll do that for each room and place text in the rooms with your room names that say the room name and the square footage. Now for your finished plan, you are going to want to add your room names. And when you do add your room names, you're going to want to use the Arial 4. And you can use single line text if you wish. So for example, I can start my single line text here. I want 0 rotation, so I'm going to click enter. And then my text would be all capitals, living room, and enter. Now I did not put that on the text layer, so let's select it and let's take it off of miscellaneous and put it on the text layer. So all of your text should be green. And then you'll be labeling each room. But for a finished plan, we want to bring in the symbols that represent the different finishes. And so in your log cabin blocks, which you should have open, you will see that over at the top right-hand corner, I do have the information for the finish symbols and they have attributes. So I'm going to select them and hit Control-C. And then go back to my plan, and I'm going to Control-V and drop them off to the side here in the miscellaneous category for right now. So if I decide to insert one of these blocks, the T1 would be floor finish. T1 stands for tile 1, but you can change that to whatever you're putting into your floor. Wall base finish and wall finish, and those are the 3 things that we're going to worry about for this particular project. So now that I've brought those in, I can go to my insert and I can go to more options, and you should be able to find your wall base finish symbol, your wall finish symbol, and your floor finish symbol. So if I click on floor finish symbol and click OK, and I want to place that into my living room, the minute I click on it and place it in the living room, it's going to ask me to put in a code that I want. So if I'm doing wood floor, I might put in a W1 if I have multiple kinds of wood, or I might just put a W. So now my symbol says W1. For the wall base, again, because I've brought this into my floor plan, I can go into Insert, More Options, and I want to browse or click the down arrow and find my wall base and click OK. And then I'm going to place this in the room as well. And my wall base is going to be painted, so I'm going to give it the symbol P1. OK. And then I want to put my wall finish in. So again, I'm going to go to Insert. And I'm going to find my wall finish symbol, click OK, and place that in the room as well. And this is going to be a paint, but it's going to be P2. Click OK. So now I've given my living room a wood floor, a painted trim for the base, and a different paint for the wall. If I had different paint on each wall, so let's say I had 3 colors of paint or 2, or I had an accent wall, then I could move this symbol over to the wall that it's going to be on. And then I could insert another one for the overall paint color, or put one at each wall. So if this is a different paint, I can put in P3. So as you go around the room, you can do that. Now let's say that I decide that I want tile in my kitchen. In that case, I'm going to be on the miscellaneous layer, or I can make myself a flooring layer. And this is something that you guys can do if you want to. So I'm going to create a line that separates the kitchen from the living room. And the other thing I can do is I can hatch this area so that it looks like tile. So I can hatch. And instead of a solid, I want to do a user-defined pattern. And I want my tile to be 12 inches. And then I'm going to click on properties, and I want it to be double in both directions. And so then when I click here, it's going to put that pattern, oops, in my kitchen area. Now let's say I want to put a different kind of tile in my bathroom, a smaller tile. Then first I want to define where that tile will stop. So if it's going to stop in the middle of the doorway, I want to draw a line there. And then I can go to hatch again. And I can user define my hatch, but I can change the size of it. So let's say I want it to be 6-inch tile instead. And I'm going to have to click all the areas that require tile because where the door is, it's going to be enclosed. And so now I have the tile showing. I have wood floor, and then I have tile showing in those two areas. So the rest of the rooms, I would need to continue to add those symbols until I was finished with my finish information. And then I would need to add a legend. So in the legend, you can actually create a schedule, or you can just do a multi-line text and give each paint color, each paint, P1, P2, P3, a color. And you can give this a fictitious color, or you can actually look up something from Sherwin-Williams or some other paint manufacturer and use something that's legit, or you can just make something up and that would be fine. One of the things I didn't do, and I know you guys probably noticed this, is that I forgot to put in the wood for the porch here, and now none of my blocks have that in them. So one of the advantages of making a W block is that if I had made the W block, I could go into the W block, edit it, fix that, and then all of the new, all of the corrections would show. But since I didn't do that, I would have to add that wood porch flooring to all of my plans. So one more note about the finished plan is that I did give you an example of a finished legend in your instructions, but that is for a commercial project, so please don't copy what's in there. That is just an example. Yours will not be that long because you will only have a few rooms and you'll only have a few different types of finishes. Okay, so that would be the end of my explanation, because I know that you guys can put your own furniture in your furniture plan, and you can do your own lighting plans. Again, if you go to your log cabin blocks, you're going to find all the things that you need to furnish, and even the elevation information for the furniture is here. All of your electrical is here, and all of your lighting. So you can either go through the Design Center, bring all of these blocks into your plan, or you can select things individually, Control-C to copy, and then go into your plan and Control-V to paste. So anything that you want to, you can paste individually. So that would be the process for finishing up this project. Then the most important part is to set up your layouts correctly. So the next part of what I'm going to show you in the rest of this video is how to set up all of your layouts so that each of these plans is going to show properly in your layouts. Okay, so to set up your layouts, we want to make sure that we have the 11 by 17 landscape sheet ready to go. And so I'm in that sheet and I'm in the layout space of that sheet. Notice that in this sheet, we have already a viewport. And that viewport may or may not be on the correct layer. So if you're going to copy and paste this into your drawing, you're going to bring with it this viewport. So the important part is to go into your drawing and go into that first layout space and delete anything that's in there. You don't want anything in there at all. Even viewports or anything. All you want to see is this white piece of paper. Then go into your landscape, 11 by 17 landscape title block that I've given you, and you want to select everything that's in that title layout space, the paper space, except for you don't need this text information here. So if you select that and hit Control-C to copy, then go back to your plan into your first layout and hit Control V to paste. And you want to put this as close to the corner of 0, 0 as you can and click. You'll notice immediately that one of your plans, your main plan that you did, is showing now in the viewport. So we can now name this. We can right click, rename, and this one can be called floor plan. And if you want to, you can put with dimensions, so you know which one it is. So now when you click on this, it's always going to be the floor plan with dimensions. Now we need to set this up for plotting, printing, and also for the right scale. So we can click inside this viewport, and we notice that it is already locked and that it is at 1/4 inch equals 1 foot, which is correct. However, I don't really like the location of my plan, so I can unlock it and adjust the location of my plan depending on where I'm going to put my legend or other information. And I want to make sure that it stays at the right scale, that it's still at 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. And then I want to relock it so that it doesn't move. So this will be how it's going to look. The other thing I want to do is I want to select that viewport, and notice that it is on title block viewport layer. So you can either leave it on that layer or you can put it on your own viewport layer that you created, because we know for sure that your viewport is set to non-print, so it won't show when you print. Okay, now we need to set up the page layout for it to plot. And I just noticed that I moved this over, I was lining it up to the wrong border line. So I'm going to move the whole thing, select the whole thing, and pick this corner and move it up to this corner here. Okay, so now it's set to be an 8.5 by 11 plot, but we need to change it to an 11 by 17. So your next step is to go into print, and we want to do page setup. We want to create a new page setup that's 11 by 17. So we want to click on new, or actually we're in the floor plan with dimensions. So we want to click on modify. And here we want to change this to Adobe PDF. And then instead of letter size, we want it to be tabloid. That's 11 by 17. And we want to, actually, let's see what Ledger does. Ledger is actually the correct one. So we want it to be Ledger, and we want it to be landscape. We want to plot the layout. We want this pen assignment to be monochromatic. And everything else should remain the same. The scale is 1:1. When we plot, you never change that. It's always 1:1. And then we can look at it as a preview to see how it's going to look. It looks pretty well lined up, but I could actually give the borders a little bit better alignment, or I could center it. So one of the things you could do is to adjust it here at the X and Y until you have it perfect. You could also window the area. So if you window the area, it will ask you to put a window around your plot area. And you can center the plot and then preview. So now, because I did that, it looks pretty good. It's all even all the way around. So I can hit enter and I can hit OK. And then I want it to stay that way. If I don't see set current, then it already is set current, and I can close. So now you can see that the paper space is perfect around my my border and my title block. You can edit the information here within this border. You can click on all this text and edit it. Put your name, put the page name. This would be floor plan with dimensions. You can change the numbers of the sheets. And be sure and put the correct, leave the scale or change it and remove that word change if you're doing the elevations. And if there's no scale because there's multiple things on the same page, then you leave this as NTS, not to scale, and you put the scale directly next to your plan. So you're going to set up the rest of your documents that you need to print. So create a new layout. And in this new layout, delete what you have, what you see, and then go back to your floor plan with dimensions. Since this one is set perfectly, you're going to want to select it, and you can Control C copy, and in this layout you can Control V paste. And again, you're going to want to I keep picking the wrong thing, so I'm going to move it. I want to select the entire thing, move, and move it to that corner. So this will be ID2. So I just change that right now so I know. And then I can rename the layout. Right click on that, rename. And this one's going to be my finished plan. And then here I have to unlock the border. And I have to move to my finished plan and move my finished plan into Vision, into the viewport, and then lock it again. So as I'm creating these viewports, I want to make sure I'm focused on the correct plan. What happened to my layout? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so I have my finished plan layout, but I don't have my plot set up. So I can go into the plot, print, page setup, and because I already set this one, I can actually click on Set Current and close. And now this is set to print based on that other layout. But it looks like I still need to move the border a little bit. Nope, I need to get out of model space. Okay, so I can select the whole thing and move it so that it fits neatly inside the plot area. So you'll be doing that for each one of the layouts that you need to create. And then just to check to see what this might look like plotted, you can do a print preview. And this is what it's going to look like when it gets plotted as a finished plan. All right, so that's about as far as I can go to help you. You'll need to do all of the rest of the project on your own. And you'll be putting this into a PowerPoint presentation, which I will go over in class, and you'll know how to do that from your hotel suite. Hope you enjoy this project. It's great for your portfolio, and I will see you in class. Bye.